She's always spoken her mind out, and there are many reasons why I love her, but among that, of course, is being fearless. It is difficult to be fearless and blatant in this industry. You've had your own journey when you started out, and now when you look back at it, do you have any regrets?
No, none whatsoever. I think fearlessness comes from self-assuredness, from self-discovery, from a sense of empowerment, but it also comes with responsibility, you know. I think it's one thing to be blatant, but another thing to be responsibly blatant. I think it's so important for us to be able to voice our own truths to ourselves in order to be able to voice larger truths that belong to everyone else.
Like I said, she's one of our Wonder Women this time. And do you sometimes feel you're a Wonder Woman? Do you feel you have like this secret superpower? Yeah?
I think every woman who has discovered her innate strength, her passions, her ability, and the pursuit of those passions, despite the obstacles, discovers and feels that emotion. It can be every day, it can be once in a while, but the truth is that when I think back to the little girl who grew up in Hyderabad, I was at this travel event just a short while ago, and I spoke about how I took my first international flight only after I became Miss India, which was at the age of 18. I'd never traveled abroad. And the sense of liberation and empowerment just financial independence gave me at that age, and how that has continued to help me build my own narrative, define my choices, seek my goals, because you know, when you're younger you have an idea of what your life should be and what you want, and it's usually material things. It's like, I remember as a little girl being fascinated by makeup and nail polish and lipsticks. So I used to fantasize about having this big dressing table with lots of lipsticks and nail polishes and makeup. That was like a big deal. But those are innocent, naive aspirations. I think as you evolve as a human being, you start seeing the world, you start discovering yourself, you understand, and you're able to define your aspirations better. So I seek quality now, I seek beauty now, I seek knowledge, I seek individuality and authenticity in experiences. I seek experiences that liberate me. And that's so different from the 18-year-old that left home. So when I'm able to run my home, I'm able to pay my bills, I'm able to run my company, I'm able to make the movies I want to make, I'm able to act in the work that I want to really be a part of, or I'm able to deal with the the rejection of being at a certain age or not qualifying for certain parts because you've crossed a certain age. That, in the typical Indian mindset, especially at the workplace in the entertainment business, I am perceived to be at the awkward age. Funnily enough, right? Because I'm not young enough to play the parts opposite the men who are as old as I am.
Because they want to play only half your age.
Yes, and I'm not old enough to play their mothers yet. So, so just to be able to hold your own within all of that and still pursue what it is that you really care about is gives you many moments of I'm wonderful.
ये heroine की परिभाषा change हो गई है. You decided to take the sabbatical after you get married, and you were extremely happy in that zone. When you wanted to come back again, did you see that change in attitude?
Well, I didn't consciously go anywhere. I established a company with my partner, who then of course became my husband. I was busy releasing a film that we had made. And it's a lot of work when you're an active hands-on producer. It's very, very immersive. So I didn't get the chance to do acting jobs during that period. And of course, everybody assumed that because I was married, I was taking a sabbatical. But that was far from the truth, because I was working every day as a film producer. Having said that, I think the industry will continue to remain sexist for the large part until there is not enough representation of women in the workplace. So when I talk about representation, or I speak about, or I call out for not enough women in a room.
Absolutely.
What I'm actually pointing out to is the fact that if we want to aspire for gender equality, we need to have better representation of women in every sphere. So whether it is in technical support or in front of the camera, or whether it's directors, story writers, whatever that may be, we need more women. And of course, we need many more feminist men who understand how important the nuances of their storytelling are in defining the way people perceive relationships with women, for women, or perceive women at large. So
then eventually the representation changes.
Absolutely. So is it getting better? Yes, it is. Because I think there is a better representation now than perhaps there's ever been. I also think that women on camera, women in film especially, actresses, are making more evolved and conscientious choices. I think there are many more women today who are saying no to work that they don't believe espouses the kind of values or the kind of mentality that they would want characters to espouse. Like, I think there are more women who are saying, I don't want to be window dressing. I don't want to be the item girl. I don't want to just be an object of somebody's desire. I want to have substance. I want to be a catalyst in the narrative. I want to drive the story.
You wanted to get into production at a time when not many women were doing that. And
especially
today, of
at
course,
my age.
You chose content. You headed Bobby Jasoos with Vidya. You supported like a women-led film at the time.
Yeah, and I cast another actor.
Were there hindrances that you right now have sort of managed around it, but at that time were very difficult?
I think the first thing that I experienced was resistance, because I remember many colleagues and subordinates in the industry saying, you're only 26. If you become a producer at this age, people will stop giving you acting jobs. Because for some strange reason, even though we all we vociferously admit the fact that women are fantastic multitaskers, for some strange reason, and I find it very odd, people in the film industry don't believe that a woman is capable of doing more than one job. So if you're acting, then you should only be acting, and if you're producing, you can't possibly be acting. But for some reason men are capable of doing all of that, apparently, but women aren't. So the first thing was that the fear of threat, the fear of losing opportunity, and it did happen. Because I met enough studio heads and producers and directors at the time when we were producing our first film, even our second film. It got worse when the second film happened, because I didn't cast myself in that film. I cast another contemporary artist who I loved and who we collectively thought would be absolutely fantastic in the film.
And she is.
And she is. There was this constant question, are you still acting? Because I was producing. And it was bizarre. It just never... And I always say this because I think that our choices as women will define the course for us. So if we say, excuse me, I am a producer, but I'm also an actor, I'm also an artist, I'm also an activist, I'm also a writer, I can be anything I want. Right? And I can be good at everything. Or I can stumble and fail, but I will still try and get better at everything. That is my choice. Then maybe more people will learn to accept and understand that women in the workplace are not one-dimensional. They're capable of doing much more than we, allow them to be, or we think they can be, and we can't put our personalities into a box or our aspirations into a box.
I completely understand why you put that point of how you took your contemporary and you wanted to cast her in your film that you wanted to produce and not act in it, because there've always been in this industry, women have been pitted against each other. That fortunately a lot of calling out has been done also right now. What do you have to say about that?
I think it stems from patriarchy. It all boils down to that, because, see, there is a negative connotation for a woman who has ambition. Right? वो तो बहुत ambitious है.
Yeah.
then because a woman has ambition, it is assumed that she will be envious.
Yeah. That she only
Because-
wants herself to be there.
Yeah. So there, it's just a constant narrative that is undermining the aspiration for self empowerment, self reliance, self assuredness, and that's where all these ideas and notions are born out of.
Yeah.
But I think women are dispelling all of that
Yeah.
by demonstrating through action and choice that, excuse me, we are far above and beyond all this. We are evolved, we are aware, we are educated. Of course we have ambition, of course we have drive, but that doesn't mean we have to have jealousy and envy and all these negative traits that people kind of associate with ambition.
I think this year was monumental in the, in a lot of ways. Movies for women. And of course, like we said, one of the most important movement finally happened here, which I don't think anybody's ever thought is going to happen. Me too. You were one of the foremost people who came forward and supported it and was extremely, extremely open about what you thought of it, whether it was regarding specific people like Sajid or anybody else. So what do you have to tell me about what you saw in the last 6 months that happened with MeToo, and you, of course, being an integral part because you really championed it for all the survivors?
I think we're all an integral part of it.
Yeah.
Each one of us, every woman in the industry, not just in the film industry, but in any industry. I think the first thing that we need to understand is that in many ways, MeToo is an elitist movement. It is a movement that is centered around privileged women who have access to jobs, who work in workplaces that have educated people, and despite that we deal with the circumstances that we do. Imagine the women who don't have that. Imagine women in the labor force. Imagine the women in the daily wage force. Imagine women in the different industries that are not in the informal sector, what they must be going through. So I think it is even more compelling for educated people to really introspect and analyze what MeToo actually stands for. It stands for one very basic thing, which is a safe and equal workplace for women. And how can anyone in their right mind, man or woman, have anything against such a thing?
Yeah.
Right? It should be something that we all encourage, embrace and celebrate, because the fact is that it is required. And the reason why this movement has even occurred is because even in the most progressive parts of the world, unfortunately, women are not safe at the workplace, right? And there are also very many individuals who misuse their place of their position of power, men and women. So I think it also calls for a sense of responsibility and introspection. So the reason why I spoke up when I did was because I belong to that workforce of women who left home at the age of 18, who lived in a new city with no support system, who had to navigate my own path in every sense of the word, whether it was living on my own or traveling alone or getting to the workplace and surviving at the workplace. And I've seen all kinds of men over the years. And I think it's so important that we've called it out, because it needed to be. I think it dispels so many, again, notions about ambition and the fact that we will not get opportunity based on merit, but we will get opportunity based on a sexual favor. And that is something that has to really change. It irks me to think, because when I was younger, I think one of the biggest reasons why people from good families didn't allow their daughters to work in the film industry was because it was such a notorious place, or it was like just spoken about this way. But obviously there must have been some kind of a precedent for that kind of image to have been constructed around the industry, that it's a place where people are constantly misusing their position of power, especially against women. And that had to change. It has to change. I think for the most part, the educated people in the industry, the people who are sensitive and empathetic towards the importance of this movement, have definitely changed, have implemented systems in the workplace to make it a safer place for women to come to work and feel fearless to, of course, bring a complaint forward. And those men who say, you know, don't make this about a man-woman thing, have to really shut up.
Yeah.
Because the only reason why this is even happening is because it's been so unfair for so long. And we really need things to change.
Absolutely, and I really hope that that's the direction we are heading.
And also, one more last quick point I want to add is that, you know, there are a lot of people who have such an accusatory, vulgar tone for women who are speaking up.
Yeah.
And I want to tell all of them that, you know what, it takes a lot for an individual to put themselves out there.
Yeah.
It can be very traumatizing to go through an experience in the first place, and then it's even more traumatizing to have to express it, because you relive it. Every time you talk about it, you relive it, and it's very, very difficult. And I think it's grossly unfair for anyone to say that people are misusing this, while there is a big possibility that there may be certain individuals who do that. But I really hope that for the sake of the movement, women are honest.
Yeah.
And women who have genuinely experienced things come forward, because dishonesty will undermine the movement. I think that's so important. Like, I'm a woman, but I have a big problem with anonymity. Because if you are willing to name and shame someone, you have to have the strength and the courage to come forward with your own name. Because nothing is more, like for me personally, the stories that really hit me and knocked me hard in the stomach were stories from women whose face I could see, whose voice I could hear. Because in that you recognize their truth. But the moment you hide behind, you know, no image, and you hide behind a wall and you speak and you refuse to even bring yourself forward, then it's a problem, because then I don't believe you're really contributing to the narrative and the movement.
When you think about few women in your life who probably you'd say they are Wonder Women in this journey, whether it can be from the film industry or actors who you feel are today Wonder Women, who are sort of, you know, flag bearers of the feminist movement here, who would that be and why?
My mother. The first influence in my life that taught me the importance and the value of financial independence, of seeking identity and individuality, of being so unabashedly open and honest about her failings and her flaws. I think that's such an empowering thing, to be able to accept and acknowledge your weaknesses and your flaws, and to be able to say, but I can grow, I can learn, it's okay to make mistakes. I think women are very hard on themselves when they make mistakes. I think the second person who had a huge influence and impact in my life was Shabana Azmi. When I worked with her on Tehzeeb, I recognized, of course, I always respected her as an artist, but I recognized what a force of nature she was, how she so effectively used her celebrity, her voice, her reason, her power to reason, her desire to seek social change through entertainment and cinema. Big inspiration for me, and I continue to be inspired by her. And I really think that many of my life choices have happened because of the inspiration I got from her. Meryl Streep, what an iconic artist, and an artist who has really helped so many human beings understand, and women especially understand, that, you know, the power of art is transcends all borders, all barriers. It's an opportunity to really communicate the language of love and to help people reason and discover and learn and grow. Absolutely. And I think that so much of my journey, whether it is as an artist or a film producer or an environmentalist, has been really shaped by such individuals. I think Faye D'Souza.
Yes.
I love her empathy. I love her spirit. I love the fact that she can be fierce and firm but soft.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's so important in today's world you don't need to be loud to be heard.
Yeah.
You don't need to shout off the rooftops to be able to convey a point.
Well said. We're proud of you, Faye. Mira, now, if there are a few notions that need to still change in the film industry, what would that be? And it's time we sort of do away with them.
I think the first would be from personal experience, the myth that women are suited only for one job.
Yeah.
We can do many things and we can be equally efficient and capable at all. The other accusatory tone for those who have a voice and use it. I think that needs to really stop because an intelligent woman is not a threat to anybody.
Yeah. Yes.
So that really has to go away. And the third would be that women are not a function of, I don't know, I guess something that you use to attract an audience.
Of the objectification.
Yes. Women are not objects of desire. They are much more than that. And if you just look at and to the women in your life, you'll know.
Well said. Thank you so much, Dia.
Thank you.
It's been lovely.
It's been such a pleasure. I'm so happy you're having this conversation.
It is, of course.
And celebrating Wonder Women. And I'm very, very honored to be a part of it.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. And you're a Wonder Woman yourself.
Oh, thank you. And like I said, she's a Wonder Woman and a true force of nature herself.
Next time I have to interview her.
But on that note, thank you once again, Dia. You are a true force of nature for everybody, and I hope a lot of young women, men sort of take inspiration from what you've done with your life as well. Thank you once again.
Thank you.